everyone, my name is Melissa and I am going to talk about a famous book by Edgar Allan Poe called The Telltale Heart. This book was published in January 1843 and was one of the books that made Edgar Allan Poe famous. First of all, I'm going to talk a little about Edgar Allan Poe's life. The most important facts about his life were first, he was separated from his brothers, his mom died, and his father left the family when he was only 3 years. He was adopted, and his stepmother loved him, but his stepfather not much. He left the university because he didn't have money. He had depression all his life, and he was an alcoholic. His work were sinister and brilliant. When his wife died, everything was bad. Edgar Allan Poe was born on January 19 of the year 1809. He was died on October 13 of the year 1849. He was an American writer, poet, critic, and editor who was famous for his mystery and horror stories. His most famous works were The Raven, The Black Cat, and The Telltale Heart. His creativity and talent is unmatched. He will never be forgotten. I want to say something about the death of Edgar Allan Poe. No one knows exactly why he died. Only they say that he died from drinking too much alcohol, but it is only a supposition, and that is why I say that it is a mystery. Well, let's continue. The official language of the book is English, but we can also find it translated into other language like Spanish or French or whatever. The main characters are the narrator and the old man, and the secondary characters are the three policemen and the neighbor. I think the mood of the book is suspense, terrifying, and spooky. Now we are going to talk about the amazing plot that this book have. I think it's a little ironic, but it's so amazing and so terrifying. I don't know how in a few lines you can feel the horror and the pain. Well, I will tell you a bit of the history and you will understand me. The history is about a man, an unnamed narrator, that he says that he's going to tell a history in which he will defend his sanity, yet confess to having killed an old man. His motivation was neither passion nor desire for money, but rather a fear of the man's pale blue eye. Again, he insists that he's not crazy and he's not a bad person. Every night he went to the old man's room and secretly observed the man sleeping. In the morning, he would behave as if everything were normal. After a week of this activity, the narrator decides that it's time to kill the old man. When the narrator arrives at old man's room on the last night, the old man wakes up and cries out. The narrator was quiet because he understands how frightened the old man is. Soon, the narrator hears the old man's terrified heartbeat, and he worried that a neighborhood might hear the old man's heartbeat. He attacks and kills the old man. Then he dismembers the body and hides the pieces below the floor. He is careful not to leave even a drop of blood on the floor. When he finished, the narrator hears a knock at the street door. The police have arrived, having been called by a neighbor who heard the old man shriek. The narrator is relaxed and tries to appear normal. He leads the officers all over the house without acting suspiciously. He even brings them into the old man's room to sit down and talk at the scene of the crime. Well, the policemen don't suspect a thing. The narrator is comfortable until he starts to hear a low sound. He panics because he thinks that the policeman must also hear the sound and know his guilt. Finally, the narrator thinks that the policeman knows that he killed the old man and confesses everything. I think the narrator have a mental illness. After reading this book, I thought two things. The first thing is, wow, this book is so good. And the second thing is, I have to recommend it to someone. My conclusion of this book is, The Telltale Heart is a book with a good and unexpected plot. Edgar Allan Poe transmits in a short book a cold and a cruel history. The narrator is completely insane. He tries to convince us that he is not a murderer and he is sane. But he kills the old man just because he has an eye like a vulture. And then he couldn't with the guilt and ends up ruining the perfect crime. This book may have a lot of interpretations, and also this book may result hard to comprehend because for the mixed plotline. An interesting fact is that there is already a movie about this book. And yeah, that is all for today. I really hope to you read this book because it has only 7 pages and also is so good for read on a October rainy afternoon with a good cup of tea or coffee. Thank you.